Hello and welcome to the first episode of Purls of Parmadise. My name is Courtney and I'm coming to you from Northeast Ohio, where I live with my husband and all of our yarn. With it being episode 1, I'm just going to dive right in and tell you a little bit about myself and my knitting journey. So about 7 years ago, I was really into crafting, doing all kinds of different things, Pinterest, crafts, all those sorts of little things. And I had done some loom knitting back in middle school and high school. So I had some leftover yarn from that, but that wasn't something I saw myself getting back into. And I had this yarn that I wanted to use up. My grandmother knit, but she had stopped maybe a year or so before due to arthritis. And I don't have any sisters. I don't have any first cousins at all. My mom and my aunt don't knit. So I kind of wanted to learn just to pick up that tradition and to be able to carry that legacy on. So I started. I got on YouTube. I had this little book that my husband bought me from Red Heart, from Joann's or Michael's or something, and a pack of bamboo straight knitting needles and some plastic knitting needles, and I just kind of started. It was about a year of picking it up, getting really frustrated, not knowing what I was doing, throwing it in a corner, letting it sit for a few weeks or a month or two, picking it back up, getting really frustrated, throwing it back in a corner, repeat the cycle for about a year. And then one day I finally picked it up and it clicked. Something just clicked and I was knitting all of a sudden. And I didn't expect what happened next, which was I fell head over heels in love with this craft. Never expected that. I thought I was just learning to knit some gifts. At the time we didn't have much money, knit some handmade gifts and, use up some of that yarn. I did not expect this to become my absolute passion and really a lifestyle. But here we are. Fast forward to spring of 2020. I had been knitting at that point for about 4 years. And I had really been thinking about doing a knitting podcast. Obviously, we're in 2022. There was it took me a while to press record. But during that time when here in Ohio, we were locked down, I was laid off work for several months, and I really had a chance to hone my knitting skills and get a little bit better, get a little faster, and more confident. My confidence as a knitter really has grown over the last couple of years. So in 2020, in the spring, when we were locked down and everybody was trying to find some things to do to keep themselves occupied, I did some Facebook Lives, and I got some pretty mean-spirited comments. So I put my podcast idea on hold, thinking that maybe I wasn't good enough, maybe nobody would be interested, and maybe nobody will be interested. But 2 years later, that's okay. So that being said, that's kind of my knitting journey. I love knitting. I love yarn. I ask that if I'm not your cup of tea, that's totally okay. I'm not going to be everybody's cup of tea. But if I'm not yours, that's okay. Turn it off, move along, but please be kind. Just please be kind. So without further ado, let's just get right into the stuff that we're here for, which is the knitting. So what am I wearing? This is the Fiore top by Irene Lin. I'm just going to touch the screen. My preview went away. I want to make sure you can see this. So I'm going to kind of back up and show you. So it's meant to be a fade. This is my first fade I ever did. I think, actually, that's not true. That is not true. This is the first fade I ever put the colors together for. So there's some of this eyelet detail here on the bottom with a nice bind off. And then there's some more detail here around the yoke a little bit, and a little bit of eyelet detail there. So anyways, I used Cornbread and Honey DK Superwash Merino in the Royal Rumble colorway. And then I faded down and held that with a strand of Threads by Megan Nicole in her Toil and Trouble colorway on her sock base. So this part is a little bit thicker, just because I was holding that strand of fingering with the DK for about an inch. But then we get into 2 strands of the Toil and Trouble, and then here at the very bottom is, I started probably around here holding 1 strand of the Toil and Trouble with a strand of Chicken Coop Dye Works Foghorn, and then ended with, in the Salt and Pepper colorway, and then ended with 2 strands held together of that. I made this last fall, I think. Yeah, last fall. I think this is my favorite thing I made last year. Maybe one of my favorite things I've ever made. I just really love wearing it. It's so unique, and I love the feminine kind of yoke, and then these frilly, ruffly sleeves. It's a fun top. It is a fun knit. I would highly recommend, and I probably will repeat myself a little bit just because when I sit down to watch a knitting podcast, I use the word watch kind of loosely. I'm usually sitting there knitting or drinking my coffee or looking at the last thing that they mentioned, and they'll say something one time and then I don't catch it. And I either have to go back, which is really annoying, or I just go, oh yeah, I'll check later, and I never do. So anyways, in case you missed it the first time, this is the Fiore top by Irene Lin, and it is a paid for pattern. Okay, so that's what I'm wearing. I keep looking over because I do have some notes here. I don't know how much I'm actually going to use them, but I just want to make sure I don't miss anything that people might be interested in. So let's see. I think that's all the housekeeping intro stuff. Finished objects. It's so awkward doing a first episode because usually you talk about things that are based on things you talked about in the previous episode, but there is no previous episode. So we're just going with it. The next one will be more cleaned up. The next one will make more sense. We're just going with it. It's okay. This is all for fun. It's okay. So I'm just going to show you a couple things I made kind of recently. So this is, okay, there we go. This is the Christmas Cardinal stocking. See, it's good I have my notes. I'm filming on my phone, so I don't have any way to look anything up. This is the Christmas Cardinal stocking by Darlene Swaim. And I'm going to try to link to these things, but I've never done anything like this. I don't really know what I'm doing. So there might be links down below. There might not be. I don't know. We'll find out. We'll see. So this is the Christmas Cardinal stocking by Darlene Swaim. I made this for my husband. He loves cardinals, and I wanted some wintry decor. So I cast this on December 10th of last year, and I finished it a couple weeks ago. I kind of knew that there was no way I was going to get it done by Christmas. I did rush a little bit, and once it became clear I just wasn't going to have time, I just didn't. And he's fine with it. If my husband is very laid back, very chill, very go with the flow. So he was fine that I didn't finish it. I just told him I was knitting a stocking. He didn't even know what it looked like. So it was really fun to get to surprise him a couple weeks ago, finishing that up. I had worked on it during the winter, and then I kind of forgot about it. I wanted some color work knitting, and this was perfect. So there are some issues with it, not with the pattern. The pattern is fabulous. I think I know what happened. So I had started knitting this. I want to say I started on Magic Loop, and I'd never done color work on Magic Loop, I don't think. And I don't know if I was experimenting, or knowing me, I probably didn't have the needles that I actually needed free. So I was like, oh, that's fine. I'm just going to do this. This is what I do. Anyway, and so my floats up here are like super tight. Yeah, they barely move. I think also, if you can see, I think I was catching my floats a little too often in here. I'm not really sure. Then I think, if I remember right, that I did switch to circulars, but I think they were slightly too long. So I think that messed with my floats. And when I picked it up the other day, it was down by the foot. And this is much, much better. So, and I did those on 9-inch circulars, which is what I use for socks. That's kind of my jam. But all in all, I'm really happy with how it turned out. I did use Knit Picks Wool of the Andes. In the Winter Night is this blue, and it's with Wool of the Andes worsted. And the white is white, and the red is red. And then I don't know if you'll be able to see. Let me see. Okay, you can see his little beak here is some kind of, I had some yellow in my stash. I'm not even sure what that is. I think it's some kind of Knit Picks DK something. So anyways, there's my Christmas Cardinal stocking. If you're looking for something Christmas in July to knit, or want to get a head start on winter decor, I would highly recommend this pattern. It was so much fun. It's just 2-color color work. The Cardinal's duplicate stitched, super easy. He took me 2 minutes. It was great. So anyway, there's my first finished object. Okay, so moving on to the next thing. And I don't know if this is the setup I'm going to use. We're just going with it today. This is what we can do. We're going with it. These are socks, obviously. So this is the Vanilla Latte sock pattern by Virginia. Hang on, I have it here. Virginia Rose Jeans. I might be butchering that. I'm so sorry. This is the second pair I've knit in this pattern, and I really like this pattern. It's really simple. It's basically a vanilla sock and gives you some different, it's a top-down vanilla sock, gives you some different ideas of what you can do. So you can spice it up a little bit. I have done the broken rib texture here on the leg and the top of the foot. I find that for me, having that to hug my feet and hug my leg, it makes for a more comfortable sock for me. I believe this is a 2x2, yes, 2x2 ribbing for the cuff. And an Eye of Partridge heel flap and gusset. I didn't know which kind of heel flap I wanted to do, so I let my husband pick. And then just a traditional, I can't think of the name of this, but just a regular traditional toe. So these are knit in Knit Picks Felici fingering in the aquarium colorway. I picked this up, I want to say end of last year maybe, I'm not really sure. And I love cool colors, especially blues and greens. Green is my favorite, and I saw this and I couldn't resist. And then the heel, toes, and cuffs are in, let me see, Un Besito fiber in their Smooches base, which I believe is a 75-25, Super Rush Merino and nylon base, in the colorway Yonder. And it was part of a mini skein pack that I picked up. So I'm not sure if this is a color that they still offer or if it's something that was only exclusive to that mini skein set. But these are my socks. I have a funny story about this. So one of my other hobbies, other than knitting, is adventuring. And when I say adventuring, I'm in Ohio, and my husband and I we've been doing it for years, little day trips to places in Ohio. We really love history. We have a fabulous state park system here. All of our state parks are free. It's great. So we will often, if we have a weekend off, we'll just take off on a Saturday and go do something new to us and fun. And on one of these adventures, I remember I had packed these socks to work on. I had the first, actually, I'll be able to tell which is the first sock. No, I won't. Yes, I will. Okay. I had this sock done. It was completely done other than the ends being woven in. And so I had brought along stuff for this sock. At some point, I think on one of our trips, I don't even know. At some point, I had decided I didn't want to carry 2 balls of the Felici around with me. So I took one of them out and I put it somewhere to pick up when I was ready for it. So in June, we went down to Newark, Ohio for I want to say we went to the Mid-Ohio Fiber Fair. I could be completely wrong, but it was a fiber festival in Newark, Ohio. Anyway, we went there for the fiber festival. We got a B&B in Granville that was lovely. We watched chickens out the window in the morning, and I knit on my sock, and it was the best. Except, I got to, let's see. Yes, I got to about here. And I ran out of yarn. And I was like, that's okay. I brought 3 or 4 different projects to work on that weekend. And I knew I was going to run out and then pick up the other ball at some point when we got home and finish off the sock. No big deal. So I just set it down and picked up the next project. And when I got home, I could not for the life of me find this ball of yarn. My husband looked everywhere. I looked everywhere. We looked in our car. We looked in the house. We tore everything apart and could not find it. So I had gotten to the point where I was like, okay, I'm going to give it one last shot. And if not, I must have taken it out on one of these day trips and it fell out of the car, and this beautiful ball of yarn is lying in a parking lot somewhere, and I will be so sad. But I'll just finish it off in something else. They'll be really weird mismatched socks, which is a bummer, but we're going to just go with it. And a couple weeks ago on a Friday morning, my husband left for work. I had that Friday off, and I was like, okay, this is it. We're going to look. 2 minutes after he pulled out of the driveway, I found it. So that was great. I was able to finish these off. They did not become weird socks. And I have this much left over. I didn't even need to use much of that second ball. So I would love to pair this with some hot pink yarn for heels, toes, and cuffs, and maybe do a pair of shorties and use the rest up, or ankle length socks or something. So that is the story of my socks. And once again, in case you missed it, these are the Vanilla Latte socks by Virginia Rose Jeans. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. And we'll see if I've never done video editing. We'll see. I might be able to put something at the bottom of the screen. I don't know. We'll find out. Okay, so that is all I prepared for finished objects. So we'll move on to works in progress. this has been a year of trying to finish up things. I went cast on crazy last year and cast on all the things. And this year found that I have no needles because they're all in other things. So I'm working on moving through those cast-ons and working through them, and also letting myself start a few other little things too, here and there. So my first work in progress I'm going to talk about, let's start with the biggest first. So the biggest one is in this ginormous Campbell soup bag. My grandma had a bunch of these and gave me some, and I use them as project bags for massive things. So this was a cast on in March of last year, March of 2021. Let me see if I can, it's going to be sort of tough to show. I don't really know. There, that's probably as good as it's going to get. So this is a blanket. Well, it's going to be a blanket. And this was the Tournament of Stitches knit along by Marley Bird. And I do a lot of her knit alongs. I love her patterns. You're going to see a lot of Marley Bird patterns over here. And I started this. I remember enjoying it. I remember knitting on it. And then I remember stopping and not picking it back up. And I'm not really sure why. I know, I think I do know why. Life got really busy and chaotic right around the start of this knit along. My work schedule changed drastically. It was a lot was going on at that time. So I put it down, and then summer hit and it was just hot and I just didn't work on it. So the other thing is a lot of my knitting is done on the go. That's just the way my lifestyle is. And the balls for this blanket are bigger than my head. So it's not a very portable project at the moment, at least. So I just didn't work on it. But we've picked it back up. When I started, I think I was in the middle of this square, so I've knit this one and I've started another one since I picked it back up about maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. So that's not too bad. I do have a little progress keeper marking my bottom left hand, there we go, bottom left hand square. I don't remember the maker of this, but it's Wanda, the symbol of the Scarlet Witch from WandaVision, which I love. So that is the Tournament of Stitches 2021 knit blanket. And it is still a free pattern on her website. There's also I believe, I could be wrong, I believe that there is a PDF version now as well over on Ravelry that you can pick up. But her patterns, many of them are free over on her website. So go check out her patterns, marleybird.com. Okay, moving right along. My next work in progress is in this super cool llama bag. This I picked up at a fiber festival back in May, I think. Oh yes, Memorial Day weekend. And that was the Great Lakes Fiber Show. But look aren't they so sweet? They've got all this yarn. I don't think this camera focuses well. But they've got all this yarn and little knitting needles, and there's a little cactus. It's super cute. I love it. And it is ginormous. It's got a great little pocket on the front. And the bag is by Mid Mitten Designs. And let me show you what's inside. So this is not going to look like much. I'm just going to say it. This is such an interesting, to me, kind of sweater construction. So this is the Meet Me for Coffee by Diana Poirier. I am probably mispronouncing that. Full disclaimer before you get too excited, I bought this pattern not too long ago, maybe a couple of months ago, and a week later, her Ravelry store was just gone. I had been eyeing this pattern for almost a year. I finally bought it, and her shop, I'm not sure what happened. I don't know if she moved to a website and just took her patterns off of Ravelry, if she's no longer designing. I really don't know. So to my knowledge, unfortunately, this pattern is no longer available. But this is what I have. So once again, I don't know how well this is going to work. It's such an interesting construction. So it's knit flat, and then it's folded and seamed to make kind of this oversized fun sweater. I might have a picture. I do have a picture of it that I can show you what it'll look like when it's finished. Oh, and then you'll have the information. So it does have a website on here, and I don't remember if I checked to see if that was still up and running, but you might try that. But that's the Meet Me for Coffee. And it is only one size, which I don't love. However, if you know what measurements you would want and how much ease you would want, it would be very easy to modify. Very, very easy to modify and create a larger or a smaller size, as long as you know your gauge and what you want your measurements to be. So this is knit in the Knit Picks Wool of the Andes worsted yarn, which is just 100% wool, Peruvian Highland wool, I believe. And it's in the Baltic Heather colorway. And I don't know if you can see, I don't think it's going to show up. It's a really interesting blue with some red fiber in there. And I don't think you guys can really see it. Oh, there you go, a little bit. So it's just lovely. And this Progress Keeper is from Hannah Made It. And I'm going to talk about her here in just a moment. But yeah, I usually, and I'm not sure how I'm going to do Progress Keepers in relation to the podcast. I typically move all of my Progress Keepers on Sunday. That's my start of the week. I move them so that I know how much I knit in a week, and we'll see. I've been knitting on this quite a bit. My parents have a seasonal campsite not too far from us, and in the summer I spend a lot of time there knitting out by the campfire and knitting while we converse and play games and things like that. So this has been, even though it's big and it's wool and a little warm for summer, this has really been a great project to work on because I just don't have to pay attention to it, which is lovely. I can just knit, and because it's long and woolly, it is great for evening campfire knitting because it'll start to get chilly, and instead of having it to the side, I can just kind of lay it over me. So that is the Meet Me for Coffee by Diana Poirier. I am so sorry. I am not great at name pronunciations. Okay, so there is that. And my last current whip or work in progress, which I have more. These are just the ones I've actively knit on recently. And maybe next episode or soon-ish, I'll do a whip parade for you guys. We'll just see if anybody even watches. But this bag is from Merry, Merry, Day Bag Co. And I just love it because it matches my project so well. And over here, we love a good theme. I love themes. I love when everything ties in. It makes me so happy. So let's see what's inside. So this is another massive project. This is The Secret Garden by Tracy Arnold of Nora George Yarns. And I am using Hannah Made It's summer of 2021, her summer in Chinkapin Parish, Steel Magnolias inspired summer countdown. So it was like a Christmas in July kind of countdown that was Steel Magnolias inspired. So each color has a different quote that goes with it. And I started it last summer. And again, I misplaced, I think, this mini skein. I could not find it everywhere. So I just stopped. And I finally decided to pull it back out. And I found it. And I've been knitting on it. And I absolutely am adoring this. It's so much fun. And it goes, this part's kind of hard to see. And the way that she dyed her advent or countdown or whatever, it goes from like this very light and then it gets brighter and bolder, and I just love it. And this thing is huge. So that will be great. I cannot wait to have this done. It's not very fall. I probably won't get a ton of wear until next spring, but it is ginormous. And this pattern, it is a paid for pattern. Oh, look at that. It's going to be so good. It's going to be so good. It is a paid for pattern. There are several options with this, which I love. So I am doing the largest version of the wrap, and then there's a smaller scarf version where you just, I think, knit fewer stitches to make it a scarf. And for both versions, there's also an option to do a cowl. So you can do a large, like big chunker double wrap cowl or a thinner cowl, depending on what you want to do. So I chose the wrap version. I sort of wish, now that I have seen, I started it before I had opened all of the yarn from the Advent, and I kind of wish that I had done a provisional cast on or something, or at least left myself the option if I wanted to do the cowl, just because I think this would be really pretty put together, and then I think it'd just be beautiful. So I might try and pick up some of these stitches on the edge and make a cowl, or I might leave it as a wrap. I'm not really sure. But anyways, I can't wait for this to be done. I do think by the time I record next, which I don't know when that'll be, I'm pretty sure that this will be done. I am very, very close. I just have to finish this section, and you can kind of see this is a repeat, like a total repeat section. So I have one more full section to do, and then like one more of these little blues. So I'm very close to being done with this, and I cannot wait to wear it. So, like I said, this is Hannah Made It. This is her, I don't think I said, this is her Reliant sock base, which if you want a squishy, lovely, buttery sock base, I don't know what kind of magic is in this, but I absolutely love it. I am not clear on whether or not she is still dyeing. She is local to me, which is nice. She lives not too terribly far from where I do, and I really love supporting local dyers and Midwest dyers in general, but she is very local to me. So anyways, that is my Secret Garden wrap. Well, it's just the Secret Garden. I'm doing the wrap by Tracy Arnold. So that takes us right, I think, yes, that takes us right into future possibilities, which I have more future possibilities than I do time, but that's okay. if you are a knitter in the way that I'm a knitter, you just want to knit all the things all the time. That's all I want to do. That is what I do most of the time. It is pretty rare that I do not have knitting sitting in front of me and I'm not actually at work working. So this takes us right into future possibilities because I have quite a bit of yarn left over from that wrap. Just quite a bit of little bits and bobs of these minis. And I saw this come up on my Instagram feed, these triple scoop shorties. And the colors caught my eye because they're so similar to the colors I'm using in my wrap. And I do apologize. This may be backwards for you. I am so sorry. I'm not really sure how to fix that. We will see how that shakes out. It might not end up being backwards. I don't know. I have no idea. But I really like the striping pattern. It's sort of random, but also cohesive. And I think it would be absolutely perfect for the scraps from that. I can probably even do a couple of pairs. So these are the triple scoop shorties by, oh no. Well, it doesn't have the designer's name on here and I assumed it would, so I didn't look it up. But the shop is called the Kitchen Sink Shop. So, oh, that's way too small. Anyways, I think it was at the bottom of one of these other pages. It is a paid for pattern, just a few dollars, and I didn't, so I don't want to show too much, but there you go, the Kitchen Sink Shop. These are your show notes because I don't know what kind of show notes we're going to have. We're just going to wait and see. I don't know. This is an experiment. It's okay though. We don't have to be perfect. That's what we're working on here. So my next future possibility is barely a possibility. And I say that because as soon as I'm done recording, I am probably going to go cast this on. I just didn't get the chance to yesterday. So yesterday was cast on day for the Prancing Through the Holidays make along with Marley Bird, and I believe she's partnered with Brianna K Designs this year. And the knitting one is this beautiful Scamper stocking. How stinking cute is that? Like, here, I'm gonna do this. How cute is that? It's so cute. We've got these little deer and these little like flowers. And I love that it's kind of more winter than specifically Christmas. So that I can leave it out all year long if I want. I love knitting stockings. I love having them up. They're so cozy. One of these days, I just want my house totally decorated in Christmas stockings or stockings in general. So I am using the yarn recommended in the pattern for this, which is the City Tweed DK from Knit Picks. And you guys, this is so soft. It's so squishy. I love this base so much. So this color is called Snowbank. And then we've got Primrose. Like, look at that Tweedy goodness. It's so pretty. It's so pretty. And then we have Plum Wine. These colors are just so pretty. I mean, I picked the exact colors listed in the pattern and everything. I saw it. I knew this had to happen. It's so good. It is so good. So I'm going to be starting that soon, like in the next couple hours. And I have that ready to go in my pink flamingo bag with these palm trees. This is so perfect for Christmas in July and summer holiday knitting. And this bag I purchased from my good friend Amy, of Our So Good Life. And she is also local to me. And yeah, go check out her shop. Our Sew, and Sew is like sewing, SEW, Good Life. I love this bag. I'm so excited to cast this on. So that will be happening shortly. Another future possibility that I was really tempted to start already is the super bulky Grandpa by Locatelli. I don't have a picture of it printed out. I can show you the yarn I'm planning to use. I knit another bulky sweater. I knit a Malmo, and I can't recall the designer of that off the top of my head, using these 3 colors. And this like darker gray was my main. And I have a ton of this, which I didn't use in that. So I think I'm going to do this cardigan, and this is going to be my main, and then I'm going to stripe these in. So my sweet husband was willing to stripe up, do some striping mock-ups for me, just to give me an idea and of spacing. I have the least of the mustard, then I have a little more teal than mustard, quite a bit of the charcoal left, and then a ton of the light gray. So I think this is the striping pattern I've worked out that I want to do. And then I'll also do the accents in the light gray. So we'll see how that works. And so there's that. That is, like I said, planning for the super bulky Grandpa by Locatelli. I don't know when I'm going to cast that on. Not sure. I have lots of future plans, guys. So many possibilities. So one that I know I'm going to cast on soon is for my newest niece. My sister-in-law had her back at the beginning of the year. And so I want to knit her a sweater, and I'm going to knit this lace panel pullover. And this is in the book 60 More Quick Baby Knits. It's put out by Cascade Yarns. So I'm going to do this in I believe this is called the Cream Puff colorway. I think this is Cream Puff. It just says color 289. I'm pretty sure this is called Cream Puff. So it's this light peachy beige kind of color, and I think it's going to be really, really beautiful when it's knit up. And that's in Cascade 220 Superwash Sport. So I do need to get that started so that it is done by the time the weather gets cooler. It's been pretty hot here. I don't think I remembered to say I'm recording on Friday, July 22nd. And it's been very hot here this week. We are having a huge heat wave. So I probably have a good 2 months at least before it cools off enough for her to wear that. I've also considered, and I'm not sure if I'm going to make these for her or not, these are called the patched pants. And I bought the yarn, and this is a book called We Garter Stitch by Vicki Howell. And I bought the yarn, and I had just gotten excited, like you do. And I bought the yarn, and it's one of those blown yarns, I believe. Look at that. It's so soft. It's so fuzzy. It's so lovely. And it's also, I think, hand wash only. Like I looked up the care instructions, and it's 70% cotton, 30% virgin wool, and it's an extra fine merino. It's so lovely. But I don't know if I really want to make these. I don't remember if this was the recommended yarn or not. It was not the recommended yarn. This was what I found that was very similar, that it said was a good, and I just wasn't thinking. So I don't know if I'm going to use this to knit those or not. I think they would be beautiful. I think they'd be warm. I think they'd be lovely. But babies I don't like to burden moms with things that require a lot of special care, particularly for baby pants. It's just not always a great idea. So we'll see. I might make them anyways. I might not. I would love to make these and then find a fabric for the patches that encompasses these colors, like maybe a floral or something. I think would be really sweet and a really sweet little knit outfit, but I just don't know how practical this is. So we'll see. I might, before I make them, I might talk to my sister-in-law and just see what her thoughts are on this. Yeah, they probably wouldn't be for everyday wear, but they might be cute for a little picture or over a onesie or something. I don't know. That's a possibility though. And I think that's it for future possibilities. Yes, that's everything there. So stash additions. This is longer than I thought it'd be. If you're still with me, I'm so sorry. This ended up being longer. Maybe once I edit it, it won't be so long. I don't know. Stash additions. So I'm going to just put a spoiler alert out there for both of these, just in case. So the first thing, I am part of the Fangirl Fibers Disney Yarn of the Month Club. So if you are a part of that club and you did not receive your July color yet, look away. She sends them out pretty early in the month and it's pretty late. I can't imagine anybody not having received theirs, but I also know how the mail is. So if you've not received yours and you're in that club, just go ahead and look away, mute me, whatever. Okay. So this is, oh, look at this. It's so pretty. This is by Fangirl Fibers, 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, her fingering base. And each month you're surprised with something inspired by a Disney character, a Disney movie. And this one is called I Won't Say I'm in Love, inspired by Hercules. Like, look at that. It's so pretty. I do have a light purple mohair left from a shawl I knit last year that I think would pair so beautifully with this and could make something really special. So I might pair this with that. I don't know. The yarn will tell me what it wants to be when it's ready. So there's that. And my other spoilery thing is also from Fangirl Fibers. You're going to see a lot of Fangirl Fibers on here. I love her stuff. I'm very loyal to quite a few of the dyers that I support and project bag makers and things like that. So you're going to see some of the same shops and the same designers and the same things come up and some different things too, hopefully, maybe. This is her, I did her, I don't know exactly what she called it, her Pokemon yarn countdown for July. It was like a July 31 days, and each day I am getting, it's still going on, a mini skein and a stitch marker inspired by a specific Pokemon or Pokemon type. And if you missed out this time, she did just announce that she's going to do this same thing again next year with 6 new Pokemon types. One of my other hobbies I got into at the end of last September. I had never been into Pokemon before, ever. It had never interested me. And one of my coworkers got me into Pokemon Go, and it's like one of my favorite things. I play all the time. I got super, super hooked. And so anyways, when I saw that this was going to be available, I jumped on it. But this is everything I've opened so far, and these colors are amazing. This has been so much fun. She has taken the time. I'm going to pull an older one just in case somebody hasn't kept up on theirs and still wants to see. she has taken the time to like make a little card for each of the ones she's featured with little like crafty things on there. It's so sweet. I would highly recommend it. This pouch is my own. I bought this from a local shop. Let me pull out one of her stitch markers. Oh, that one's from a couple days ago. Let's get an older one. One from close to the beginning. Oh, here we go. It's like, here's the Snorlax guy. I don't know that this camera is going to focus on that or not. Probably not. I don't think it's that kind of thing. Okay, well, there you go. You get the idea. So all these wooden stitch markers, it's just been lovely. It's been so much fun. So that's my other stash edition. I'm not sure what I want to do with these yet. I think I'm going to see how the whole calendar looks together, play around with it. And honestly, it's so beautiful. I might just want to hang on to it for a while and get to just enjoy looking at it. So I think that's all I have as far as yarn and knitting. Normally there will be a life update here at this point, but I just started, so there's not a lot to update. I guess I can tell you a little bit about myself, so first of all, I am a little more introverted. So the tell me about yourself question, my mind instantly goes blank and suddenly I become the most boring person in the universe. As I said, I'm really into travel, local travel and adventures and Pokemon Go. I also love to read. I can talk about my reading. That's it. There we go. I do a lot of audiobooks. I recently listened to Never Ask Me by Jeff Abbott, and I liked that one. I'm currently listening to, I can't think of the name of it, but it's part of the Great Library Read or the Big Library Read, taking place on Libby right now. So I wish I could remember the name of it, but I do not. I'll mention it next time. And in print, I just finished reading The Wedding Veil by Christy Woodson Harvey. I had the pleasure of seeing her and Mary Kay Andrews and Patty Callahan Henry and Kristen Harmel when they came here back in May. My mom took me for my birthday, and I got my copy signed, which was so exciting. I got a signed copy of a book from each of them, but I just finished this one and I really enjoyed it. It is a dual storyline told from multiple perspectives, which I love that style of writing. And a lot of it takes place at the Biltmore Estate in Asheville, North Carolina. And I went to college a few hours away from there and drove by Biltmore a couple times. I've never been inside. It's one of my bucket list places I'd love to go. So it was a really fun book. I really enjoyed it. As far as other life things, I do work full-time outside of my home. So that will limit my recording schedule some. I am not sure if I'm going to record once a month or once every couple of weeks. I usually work every other Saturday, so the Fridays that I'm off, like today, would be a good time to record because my husband's not home and the house is usually decently quiet. So yeah, we'll just have to see. I don't know if anyone will even watch this other than my mom and a few friends. I don't know. I started this because I don't have a lot of other knitters in my life who are as passionate about it as I am. So I don't have a lot of opportunity to really geek out about my knitting, and I wanted a place to do that. So that's what this is. We'll see how often it happens. Summer is my busy season at work, so I am often really tired when I get home, and like I said, we like to go places and things too. So we'll see how it shakes out, and we'll see if you guys like this. If you do like it and you'd like to leave me a comment, that would be great. If you don't like it, I'm so sorry that you've sat through this whole thing and didn't like it. You know, I hope that you find something that suits you better. And you can find me on Instagram, hopefully here on YouTube. I have not actually set up a channel yet. We'll see what it ends up being named. And Ravelry, my name on Instagram and Ravelry is Purls of Parmadise. And I think that's all I've got. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your patience and bearing with me as I kind of figure this all out and step into this world of knitting podcasts. So thank you. I hope y'all have a great day, and I will see you next time. Bye.